This isn't a story of playing it safe. This is a story of playing it
See
real.
then.
So
What
with that,
nobody sees, or very few people get to see, is the process of a person dying. That is a question I have never asked myself. Vikram, what will happen to you tomorrow? I don't think I've ever asked
aspects,
myself that
right? Which
question.
people are generally scared about, a job loss, about a bad boss, about this and that. Perhaps those may have become very tiny in your
Months.
head.
So if you have a wife who's pregnant, if you have a baby who's born, make your decision now, because once you come in, one, either there'll be no
I
going
think
out,
while we
or
can read nice stories on LinkedIn, but the reality hits you when you least
I think
expect
there
it,
there is
right? But
just one very important rule in my rule book, which is wake up every morning and define your rules for the day.
that's it.
Fearlessness is not carelessness. So fearlessness, in fact, is someone who fully understands the risk. I might have put in 5 years of effort before I reached this 5 minute answer, but your coaching style enhanced my degree of understanding risk, finding my own passion value system, applying that to
I
my own
believe,
thinking,
in
and
a
making
community,
improvement.
what happens is while people look towards a senior member like you and learn from them, but what they also have to understand is that they are also getting reverse mentored in one way or the other, right? Because they have to deal.
Focus on what your strengths are and just go deep and work hard on it. There is nothing called leading with authority. Authority is, there's nothing called authority. So the way we decided was, okay, let's make it into a date lunch. And where will the date happen? The date will happen inside our car.
Welcome to this edition of Unscripted. I am Rahul Gupta. I am a career and leadership coach and founder of Transform Ahead. This podcast is my space to hold honest, human conversation with real people, leaders, professionals, and change makers who have chosen growth over comfort. Through raw and meaningful dialogues, we are going to explore career pivots, defining moments, mindset shifts, and leadership journeys from inside out. So, whether you are at the crossroads or chasing your next big breakthrough or just need a relatable conversation, this space is for you. So, let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Vikram Rathour. He is an architect of system and survivor of storms. I can't make it more dramatic than this for you, but I think it aptly suits him. The tagline suits him. So Vikram Rathore is a chief architect at Cognizant with a formidable 24 plus years of career building AI driven transformation across BFSI and life sciences verticals. But beyond the titles, he is someone who has faced two kidney transplants and still operates at full throttle. A fierce believer in technology adoption, Vikram's leadership isn't just about driving change, it's about surviving it. He embodies something called the Stockdale paradox, which I also learned from Vikram, which is about confronting brutal realities while holding unwavering faith in a better future. And I know that, having the experience of interacting with Vikram, he lives by this. He's a contrarian and yet compassionate leader who is shaped by personal adversities, deep system thinking, and a lifelong commitment to mentorship. At TLC, Vikram is not just respected for his intellect, but for how raw, honest, and emotionally grounded he is, despite everything he's endured. This isn't a story of playing it safe. This is a story of playing it real. So, with that, I welcome Vikram to the podcast.
Thanks, Rahul.
Great. So, Vikram, any starting comments you would like to share before we get into a more Q&A kind of conversation? Please go ahead and share anything that you have on top of your mind.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit unusual for me to be to be in this particular position. To be honest, it's a first time. It is a topic which has got nothing to do with a project escalation or somebody's life being in danger. So it's unusual, but happy to be here, and thanks for inviting. I would say, let's do the Q&A. I'll try my best to be honest and make this podcast something that can be published and not scrapped because of what I say.
So, we don't need escalation on the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, great. So let me start with the theme that we were discussing. So I know that you have gone through a couple of kidney transplant. My question is, what did the first transplant teach you about life? Because this was the first time you got to know about this particular issue, and for most people, it would be very difficult to accept as well, right? The
Yeah.
that this has happened to me. How did you react, and what did it teach you?
I think more than a bit of background to understand how I was feeling at that time, right? So I unfortunately I lost my dad to the same illness. My dad also had kidney failure, and he was undergoing the same process of dialysis and treatment for almost 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and then he passed away. And what happened to me was almost 5 6 years after he passed away and things like that. So my immediate concern at that time had got nothing to do with me. It was about, okay, my mother, who's lived through that pain with my father, and for a mother to see that her son is suffering from the same illness. And then we it was not as if we were married for too long. It was not even a decade that I was married. Uh, and how would it have been for my wife, whose responsibility was on me? I mean, in the sense, she's independent financially and all that, but as a married couple, you have that
Sure.
responsibility. And I also had my mother-in-law, who was living with me. So this is the surrounding of the family that I was living in. So what immediately hit me was, I don't have time to think about my illness, what will happen to me, how will life be, what should I do. I didn't
Mm.
have any capacity or room in my head for any of those questions. uh, Plus, I don't know, God made me, my parents made me like this, where I anyways never bothered to. That is a question I have never asked myself. Vikram, what will happen to you tomorrow? I don't think I've ever asked myself that question. So given all this, I think it was just okay, take it day by day, see what the doctors say, how it goes, be strong in the treatment. That is the best I can do. That every day when I go to the hospital, I'm taking my medicines. Every hour that a family member crosses me sees a smile on my face, and that's the best I can do right now. Let's see
Sure.
how things will go ahead. I mean, that was the thinking in my mind.
I think what you are also teaching us, Vikram, through your story is that overthinking doesn't help, first of all. What was in your control, you were trying to control those parameters to the best possibility, and then going through the process, whatever was defined for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you avoided overthinking. And I think that also helps other people to cope up with, especially the near and dear ones, because if you are the guy who is most worried, other people also get worried in the process. Great. Uh, so, Vikram, you mentioned to me in our chat about this Stockdale paradox, right? Tell us how it shaped your perspective during your transplant journey.
Uh, two. So I have had two transplants, right? And both of them have been very different experiences. The first one was where my mother was the donor. So if I actually take you through the journey on that particular day, let's forget the whole process of getting approvals and all that, but I will just give a very quick brief of how that journey happens, right? So I'm admitted in one room, my mother is admitted in the other room, I'm getting prepped for a surgery, my mother is getting prepped for a surgery. All this is happening in isolation, but then both of us meet for the first time outside the operation theater, where she is in that complete gown or things, ready for a transplant. I am there, and that is the first time probably there is a realization, because when you are born you have no clue, right, what pain your mother went through, and you are just born and you are crying,
Sure.
you are doing nothing. But at this point in time you're seeing your mother there, and you're going to become unconscious, and then you're hoping both of you are waking up and things are fine. So it kind of makes you aware to a level that you really don't know that that level of awareness is possible in a human being. If I go to the second transplant, that was a cadaver journey. Now, in a cadaver, what happens is you just register. If a kidney comes along, they call you in a hospital, they test. If it matches, they do your transplant. Now, that's a very different experience, because there you are waiting, and it doesn't happen that first time they call you and your transplant happens. It doesn't happen that way. You get one call, two call, three calls, four calls. You don't know when it will match. So you have to, every time there is an excitement. Okay, maybe the transplant is going to happen today. Oh no, it didn't happen. Oh, it is going to happen today. Then it does not happen. There's that constant wait. Now, while the journey into the operation theater and the process after becoming unconscious is all the same, but there was a 5 year dialysis that I went through, and what really changed me from inside, and that has something that has had tremendous impact. There is no other event in my life that has had that kind of impact. Is every human being sees death. Everybody loses somebody in their family. You see death. What nobody sees, or very few people get to see, is the process of a person dying. that their last 10 minutes, their last 15 minutes, and especially people who die due to such critical illnesses. I mean, it absolutely shatters you like anything, because the person is trying their best. The level of helplessness that you get to experience, and the level of awareness that probably this is my future, that level of awareness can have two kinds of impact. You can become completely scared in life and very, very restrictive and go into a shell, or you could just open up like nobody's business. You could become so free that I cannot explain. For me, the latter happened, and I just cannot explain in words what that
Sure.
freedom means. And that is what is a great factor for the way I am and how I am. It was not that I wasn't this bold before, but it's just gone to another notch, and I now am very clear in my head what is the priority, what is that I want to do, what are the things I want to worry about, and what are the things I absolutely don't care. My decision making has become very, very clear. I would say clarity in my decision making is what has improved tremendously after that.
Yeah, that's great. I think what you are, what I'm learning is, since you have seen the worst, what is possible to a human, which is like death, and you have seen it so up close and personal, that it has changed your internal mechanisms in a manner that it has taken the fear out of the day to day aspects, right? Which people are generally scared about: a job loss, about a bad boss, about this and that. Perhaps those may have become very tiny in your head, given what you have experienced. That's great to know, Vikram. But let me ask another one. Your title is chief architect, right? And typically, when people think about an architect, it's all about structure, logic, systems, etc., which I think you anyways do in your professional life. But your life required dealing with unpredictability, right? Those 5 years, if I think about it. So how did you balance both? Because on the professional side, you have to be very structured. On the personal side, you have to go with the flow. How did you balance both?
It's not very different, I would say, because no matter how much we structure our purely our professional lives, you do have things coming up which you are not prepared for, or you have not planned for. So unplanned events keep happening. In this case, yes, the unplanned events were something to do with my body and things like that. I can share one example. What happens is, when you're on dialysis, sometimes you catch an infection. Now, for that infection, you have to take an injection which is through a drip, and you have to do it thrice a day. Now, I consciously took a decision not to take a holiday and be on in a leave. The premises where our offices were, so I was in one building, and TCS happened to be in the same premises in a different building. So Rashmi was also there. So what the way we scheduled it is, morning was easy. So three times a day means morning, afternoon, evening. I have to take the injection thrice. Morning and evening was easy, because morning I could do it before coming to office. Evening I could do it after going home. Afternoon, what should we do? So afternoon, anyways, we would have lunch. So the way we decided was, okay, let's make it into a date lunch. And where will the date happen? The date will happen inside our car. And what will happen during the date? During the date, Rashmi will come. I had an intracath in my hand, so she will start the drip. We had a hanger for our coat that we carry, right? Put the hanger, put the saline on it, and it will take 10 minutes, 15 minutes for the saline to go in. By that time, she has her food, and she feeds me also, because, or I can, if I can eat it one hand. But rather than thinking about, oh, we are going to meet for an injection, so she learned how to attach the saline, how to control it, what all things that is a part she learned. And then, rather than focusing on all that, it was a nice event where, at least I think for almost a year, if I'm not wrong, I had the opportunity to at least have lunch alone with my wife in a parking lot, with a lot of people many times passing through and seeing what are these two guys doing in a parking lot inside a car. But who cares? I mean, nice fun, right? So that's something which so these are so it's really how you want to tackle these unwanted scenarios. How do you want to plan? And the organization was quite cooperative, I think, and I was able to do it. So that was not at all a problem, but it's just how you kind of make things work in that situation.
Basically, what you are telling me is, uh, being a chief architect, you brought a lot of structure in the unstructured part of your life
Yeah,
also, right?
yeah, yeah.
Unpredictable part. Okay, that's great. That's inspiring as well, for what Rashmi was doing, right? Now let's change gear. Let's come out of the whole transplant thing. Let's talk about you as a person, right? Uh, you have never been one who sugarcoats things. You are pretty honest. You are pretty straight and direct. Now, where does this honesty come from? Because a lot of people are scared to be that honest, right? And how has it served you or challenged you in work and life? Because again, people talk about diplomacy, people talk about balancing honesty with certain things and all, but you have been always dead honest and dead direct. So did it challenge you? Did it create opportunities for you? Like how has it been?
I I've had both experiences, but what I can say honestly is that there are more people who now believe in me, who are happy to work with me, as compared to people who are, let's say, no longer friendly with me or have had challenges in working with me. So the conclusion I've drawn is being honest and being upfront is important. And the reason I say that is, yes, I have been an architect, but you need to understand in the context that I'm an architect in an IT services industry. So basically, I come from a services world. IT is for me, but anybody who's in services. Now, services is an area where uh, across all business functions, if you say where is reality living the most, reality lives the most in services. You cannot run away from reality, because in services things happen, and then it has happened the way it has happened. So if you are not honest, it is absolutely difficult to deal with reality, right? We Services does not live, if we do this, then this will happen, if you do that, then that will happen. No, it doesn't work that way. In services, this is how it will happen, and these are the things you will have to do. So when if I'm working on a deal, if I'm working on an architecture with a customer, wherever I am, I have to let them know how life will be when this your whole application goes into production, when your services are actually running, what experiences your customer will have. I have to be very, very honest upfront on that. The negative impact of certain challenges that happen is sometimes the sales team does not like it, because they feel, okay, it's too rough a story to tell the customer, he may not agree, and there is a lot of push. How much can you make it sound nicer? And I'm like, there's only so much that I can make it sound nicer. The best I can do is, okay, I will agree to move back and let someone else do a presentation and things like that. But to me, that honesty, one place where the honesty won't be compromised is when I'm facing my team. I have to tell my team very clearly, this is a project you will be working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 6 months. So if you have a wife who's pregnant, if you have a baby who's born, make your decision now, because once you come in, one, either there'll be no going out, or two, the going out will be really poor and it will reflect poorly, because unfortunately that is how life is going to be. So that honesty is that ways, but I won't say in all the times I've been able to do it upfront and very nicely and a structured way that I'm saying. Many a times reality hits you right in the middle on the day somebody's baby is supposed to be born, and literally that has happened where I've had to make a call to someone who's inside the labor room with his wife, asking him for approving a particular deployment. So it gets that bad. So,
Yeah, I think while we can read nice stories on LinkedIn, but the reality hits you when you least expect it, right?
yeah,
But what I also learned from what you said is you attract a certain kind of tribe also, right? When you are having a certain kind of trait, and your trait being honest, especially with your team, I guess people who themselves are honest will also get attached to you in the journey because they expect that honesty both sides, right? So
yeah.
that way you create a powerful team for yourself. Now, coming back to what you have said once in our community, you have mentioned you don't play by the usual rule book. Okay, that has been a kind of pet line for you. My question to you is, what's your rule book made of? If you don't play by the usual rule book, what's your rule book made of?
I think there is just one very important rule in my rule book, which is wake up every morning and define your rules for the day. That's it. And then by the end of the day, just scratch it out and throw it off, because tomorrow will be a new rule book. And I'm saying not for everything, but most of things. Unfortunately, based on how my career has been built, and I've shared this on the community also, and now that I'm known for this, I've had some really, really good bosses, and I must thank them, who've realized that this is my strength. And they have always said ki Vikram, every morning when we go through our mails and we feel this thing I am not able to make head or tail of it, we just put your name and that's done with plus plus Vikram and send it out. After that you send some mail and the things just go away from us, they are just gone. So
Nice.
and that's how it has been. So it has worked positively for me. The important message here is one should be comfortable in doing it this way. There's no magic. Maybe on a podcast it sounds very nice or it sounds scary. I mean, whichever way, it is important that you are comfortable. Absolutely, it's a very different domain. You have to be comfortable in chaos. Like there are not many people who can say, for example, I'm from Pune. I love Hinjawadi traffic because I get more time to complete my podcast. You doubt there will be hardly 0.5% people of all who travel to Hinjawadi who will say they love traveling in Hinjawadi. Things like that. So that would be a parallel.
Sure. I think I'll say more power to you for what you do, Vikram. And the other thing I guess is you made a very powerful statement that you live in the present moment, right? Every day is a new day. Let's wake up, let's plan it out, let's kill it. So that's about living in the present moment, not too worried about the future, not too regretful about the past, but right in the moment. So that's a powerful learning for me as well today. My next question would be. Explain any aspect of what you think is fearless leadership all about, because you are a person especially I admire for your fearless leadership qualities, right? So what are one or two attributes of fearless leadership is which other people can imbibe from you? What does it mean for them?
To me, there are two things to being fearless. Number one is have the capability to gauge the danger or the risk or whatever word you understand, right? Fearlessness is not carelessness. So fearlessness in fact is someone who fully understands the risk is the only one who can be fearless. Somebody who understands half baked and is actually being careless. It's very, very dangerous. A true fearless person is someone who understands the risk fully, and for that to happen you have to train extremely, extremely hard. You have to put a lot of effort in training, learning, understanding things, looking at problem statements, and understanding that whole situation. It requires tremendous amount of learning. And I say this to a lot of people that yes, you come to me and you see a magic that in 5 minutes I give you an answer, I give you a solution. What you don't understand is I might have put in 5 years of effort before I reached this 5 minute answer. And if you're not ready to do these two things, which is put in the effort to understand the problem, understand the risks, and then be ready to pay the price if things go wrong. Uh, and third is the whole hard work to understand and build the knowledge. Don't get into it. It's okay not it's okay to be fearful. That's okay. Uh,
Great, great. This is great insight, Vikram. Thanks for articulating it so well, right? That you need to understand it well in order to be fearless and not in the unknown. So
yeah.
fantastic. Great learning for me. Let's change gear a little bit towards technology, because I know you are super passionate about technology adoption, right? And you sometimes do it as if it is not your job. This is your passion area, right? Beyond your job. So what made you realize that tech is a passion that you want to live for the rest of your life? Because I'm sure this is what you do almost day in, day out. So when did you realize this, that tech is a passion?
This happened when I was in my I was before I got into diploma. So this would be 93, 94. My sister was also doing an MCA, and in Nasik, I've been in schooling in Nasik, and there's Indian Railways has a IT center in Nasik. I don't know if people know about it, where a lot of the Indian Railway IT applications are built. There's a center, and I got an opportunity to go with her. And till that time, I had been to a ticket booking counter of Indian Railways many a times. Now these are days, there are a lot of youngsters, but many people who've been quite a while in this world would know you had to actually go to the railway station to book a ticket. The ticket never came home, and you had to be in the line from early mornings and things. So I had seen the front end of a ticket booking system, and what I had seen was the person never looks at the screen, and they just know how many tabs, how things, it just flows. And when I went to with my sister and I had this idea, okay, this is computer, we'll do fancy stuff. There was a very senior guy there who came in, and when I spoke to him that which component is very critical, what runs inside this box and things like that, he gave me a very beautiful explanation. He said everything can change in this world, in that world, in that Indian railway booking system. What cannot change is the number of tabs, to go from field 1 to field 2 and field 3 to field 4. We never ever touch that. And we are like, why? So he says, you reduce one tab, that's improving efficiency. I said, yes, that's improving efficiency, but the queue will grow by 50 people every minute. So that's the level of efficiency drop that will happen, because suddenly after three tabs, the person will be in a very different field and not where he was supposed to be. So that is one part we can never, and that is when I realized, okay, that's the level of impact technology has on people. That one small change is actually going to make the queue longer by means I will have to stand there and I may not get a ticket, and I could feel the impact of that.
So let's talk a little bit about coaching and community also, Vikram, because this is important for all of us. You have been through coaching, so from your perspective, what was one or two some inner shifts or realization that happened to you because of the coaching space you went through?
One most I would say two very important aspects, right? And I had not come to coaching with a being coached mindset at all, right? I had just come that, okay, let's see, what is this. I purely because I knew Rahul was in Cognizant and I knew he was part of our M&A team, and he had worked very closely with DC. These three reasons are the reason I chose to go with Rahul. No background, nothing. So, and DC is someone we all respect mutually, and a lot of other things. So, when I came into the coaching, it was an important aspect in my life because I was trying to move away from a place where DC was there, and I wanted to actually move out. A lot of my mentors, leaders were there, and I wanted to move out. What happened during our session, Rahul, was I came in with this innovation that, are yaar, ye coach, he will give me something, he will tell me some gyan, something happened in his life. But throughout those weeks that our session lasted, not once did Rahul recommend anything. He just would ask me questions, he would give me exercises, and he made me a bit uncomfortable. And purely because of the way I am, things people who make me uncomfortable, I like them the most. In the right way, not the wrong way. And I like them the most. And that journey, the framework, question answer, I may not remember a lot. I have all the Excel sheets, everything, and I do visit them from time to time. But you made me go through thinking in a way. As I said, for me, understanding problems and risk is important. You gave me a lot of insight in improving that. So I improved in a very, very different way in that coaching session, where something which was very important to me unconsciously, we never spoke about this, but your coaching style enhanced my degree of understanding risk, finding my own passion, value system, applying that to my own thinking, and making the decisions much better. And I think that's what really clicked, and that is in fact a very strong reason why I'm still there. Otherwise, yeah, after the coaching also I could have just said, yeah, thank you, I mean, no more chit chatting and things like that. But that's the single most important factor in your style of coaching. Is what is very different. I've seen a lot of Gyani Babas, but it's very different. People might think it is, I mean, every coach says he's about asking questions, but I can tell you there are a lot of coaches who just say, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, and that's the last word time you hear the word question.
That's pretty much in your style, wrapping up on coaching. Thanks, Vikram. And I mean, if you talk about community, right, you spend a lot of time with TLC, right? I have
Yeah.
not seen anybody spending, other than me, that much time with TLC. So from your perspective, what do you think is the importance of community in today's time? What is your take on that?
With so much happening around us, whether it is technical, whether it is geopolitical, whether it is health, whether it is anything you take, the amount of change that people have to deal with today is absolutely a million times more than probably what I dealt with when I was in the age group of a lot of members that we have in our TLC community, right? The sheer degree of change that everybody has to deal with, that itself is tiring. Forget choosing and making decisions and things like that. So it is the best thing I can do, and the least effort, money, anything that needs is me sharing experiences and my point of view. I share my point of view with two clear perspectives. Number one, if I can correlate an experience, I want to share that experience. Number two, I, because these are people who are going to react the first time they are experiencing a situation for the first time. I never had the opportunity of having people like this to bounce back thoughts and things like that. So it's good to see how this generation thinks. We have people across generation. It gives me a lot of insight. It helps me on my day to day work. It helps me relate. So I will have probably someone who's a Nikita to me in my team. I will have someone who's a Anuj to me in my team, and that personality. And now these are not actual Nikitas and Anujas, because that's my perception of how I have understood these people interacting in the community and how they share their thoughts. What I use to play it back in my own team and how I do it. Right? Where else can you get something like this for free?
Sure.
I doubt there is anything like this available anywhere for free. So why not?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for telling that, Vikram. And I believe, in a community, what happens is while people look towards a senior member like you and learn from them, but what they also have to understand is that they are also getting reverse mentored in one way or the other, right? Because they have to deal with people of that caliber, of that age group, and so on and so forth,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So glad to learn this, that you are also not just giving, but also learning and taking from here. Great.
Yeah,
Now,
and
let's see.
this just one thing I would say is
Yes.
this is important because I don't know. Sometimes on WhatsApp, you just read it and you read it with a particular picture of a person in mind. So if I have sounded rude or something, yes, I'm not rude. I'm not trying to win an argument or something, but I am strong-minded. That is how I can take this opportunity to just clarify that
Clear the
I
air.
am strong-minded. It is
Let's
more of
clear
that.
the air. Let's clear the air once forever, and this will be documented. And since it's a podcast, it will be live as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, Vikram, quick rapid fire question. I have 10 questions for you, and just don't think too hard. 10 to 12-second maximum will spend per question. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. If your life were a Netflix series, what would it be titled?
Unscripted.
Scripted. Okay. Finish this sentence. If I weren't in tech, I'd be.
In restaurant business, cooking. I would be a chef.
You would be a chef. Okay. Nice. A life mantra you would tattoo on your forearm if you had to. What would that be?
Smile.
Smile. Okay. Great. That's inspirational. One word that defines your leadership style.
Um, I would say try. I mean, I can't frame the word, but
You,
it
you
is
have
like
you have used you
try
have
your
used
best.
this word many times, by the way, and I can help you recall empathy.
Yeah, empathy, but yeah, I mean, try. That is where I was saying. I mean,
Right.
try.
Sure. Okay. What's a belief you have unlearned recently?
Uh, that nothing can hurt me.
Nothing can hurt you. Okay. So there are things which can.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your biggest strength that often misunderstood?
uh, my ability to absorb unhappiness, things when they don't go my way. People think I am too careless,
Okay.
but I'm
Okay.
just more absorbent.
All right. One dish you love to cook that no one expects from a chief architect.
I would say this Manchurian.
Manchurian, okay. Maybe we'll have it one day.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you wish more leaders talked openly about?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Okay, that's great. If AI could solve just one human problem, what should it be?
Indigestion.
Indigestion. Okay. And my last question there this round is, if life gave you a reset button post transplant, would you press it? Why or why not?
Yes, I would press it, and I would press it because uh, I would I would be more conscious of my health, or rather, to be very specific, reducing my weight, because that is something I have really not been able to achieve. More than my weight reducing, my wife will be super happy uh, if I would go down on my weight. Yeah.
Great. So I'll get to the audience question, but I have one last closing ask from you. Okay, more like an advice which you would like to give. Uh, what would you say to mid-career professionals who are silently struggling with health, stress, burnout? What will be your advice to them?
You are trying to focus on too many things. Focus on what your strengths are and just go deep and work hard on it. You will succeed. uh, Whether AI comes, goes, whatever happens, if you focus on what you are good at, you will for sure succeed. Y-
Sure. So basically, focus is the keyword, right, for people
yes,
to remember.
yes.
Okay, great. So let's open up the audience question. There are four people who have asked questions. I can spotlight them, but I think in the interest of time, let me ask the question on their behalf, right?
Okay.
So Anuj Deshmukh, he has asked a question. Since you are a contrarian, how has that impacted your perception as a leader while managing up and while managing down? What are some things you have developed over the years to offset creating a negative perception?
Always st- always put a lot of effort in explaining your contrarian view in three forms. Number one, how did you dissect the problem? What were the options? And then why did you choose the option that you chose? By doing this, you will give much more capacity for the people who are listening to you to absorb your view or not.
Great, great. Thanks, Vikram, for that. Priya Kedia wants to know that not everyone becomes a tech leader. What do you think made you different from your peers? How did you stand out?
Uh, I would say my ability to handle various situations. Now, I always say this: I am a chief architect. I'm deep into tech, but my other two equally good strengths, or rather three, are project execution. So I can execute a whole project. Impact in terms of the understanding the big picture, the business impact. So if I'm working for a bank, what would a bank's customer feel, or how would they experience what I'm trying to do? And third and most important is the financial aspect of it, that is, how much money will we make, will we make any money or not, how will it go? And this is what is important, or is what is different about me.
Fantastic. Supriyo Bhattacharya wants to know what advice would you give to someone struggling to lead without authority?
There is nothing called leading with authority. Authority is there's nothing called authority. It is either people not speaking up and hence you feel as if you are in control. So authority, I'm the synonym I'm replacing it with is control. So there's nothing as such. You are never in control. You just feel you are in control, and so there is nothing called leading with authority. Rather, try to lead with confidence and truth and honesty. That is far more important to ultimately achieve the success. There's nothing called authority.
Okay. The last question comes from Agradeep. He says, how have you cultivated such a beginner's mindset? Which he explains as you question things and challenge assumptions with a childlike curiosity. So, what would be your advice for someone to cultivate a beginner's mindset?
I can share an example. When this whole AI thing started and everybody talking about all the magic that AI did. I remember one of my bosses. I was asking him just over lunch. I told him that let's say one day technology becomes so powerful that you can change whatever you want in minutes or seconds. So let's say iPhone today, you get iPhone 16, and then in 18 months, 3 years, you get iPhones. If there was an new iPhone version coming out every day, would Apple sell more iPhones? So he was like, okay, no, that is not how it will happen. So I said, then time to market is not the criteria, right? He says, yeah, I mean, that, with that argument, yes, time to market is not the criteria. Would people really bother if things are going to change every day? Would everybody be so bothered about change? Yeah, not maybe they'll let go of change and things like that. So what does really matter when we change things, when we do things? What does really matter? And he said, probably we need to think deeply and understand deeply. So what really matters is a question that is never answered, and it is always being discovered. And that's what is at the heart of my curiosity, that what really matters. That's it, that single question, which has an infinite answer and in fact does not have an answer. So that drives my curiosity on a daily basis.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a great learning for me also, Vikram. Thanks a lot for we threw you off script. This was totally unscripted, but believe me, I really loved the conversation that we had today, and I learned so much. I'm very sure others who are on the call, they have learned a lot, and some of the chats are buzzing with some of the messages. I'm sure you would love to read them as well. But let me formally close this podcast. We are at the end, and let me call this out, right, to the audience here, that Vikram's story reminds us that of leadership isn't about titles, okay, or health or comfort. I think he has led without title. He has led when he was under tremendous health issues, and definitely he has been put into all uncomfortable situation, the plus Vikram that he talked about, right? But what I understand is it's all about how we show up, especially when life throws off script. So that's how I think I will summarize, your story, Vikram. Thanks for being a part of this podcast. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks a lot. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Unscripted. If today's episode has sparked something in you, don't forget to leave your thoughts or comments. And don't forget to subscribe us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or just follow me on LinkedIn. If you are curious to know about our community Transform Ahead Leadership Circle, feel free to visit our website transformahead.com. As always, stay curious, stay grounded, and lead with clarity, confidence, and commitment. Until next time.